Are you crazy? The fall will probably kill you.
There's one guy brings the items, and the other guy pays.
What about the nurse that lives across the hall from you? She seems kind of nice.
Secure the engine room, then find me a date.
I'm multitasking.
Shoot him in the face.
I hate to shatter your ego, but this ain't the first time I've had a gun pointed at me.
You don't take your fucking hand off that case, it'll be your last.
Stop causing
Just.
Hey, maybe you haven't been keeping up on current events, but we just got our asses kicked, pal. Look.
Marion, don't look at it. Shut your eyes, Marion. Don't look at it no matter what happens.
Smell it! You smell it! Back! Hey, folks!
Oh, hello, everybody. Well, you know it's Halloween month, so you got to be ready. You never know what's going to happen, so I have to make sure it's extra sharp. All right. Anyway, you got to make sure it's clean too. You don't want it in the situation you're chasing a baby. Never mind, and we don't talk about that. Anyway, but my friend Michael is asking if you've seen Laurie Strode again. Let me know. He was here earlier, but I'm glad he's not here anymore. He kind of creeps me out with that mask on. But anyway. I'd like to bring on the guests. We're talking about Friday 13th, part 1 tonight. One of my favorite franchises, one of my favorite movies. So let's bring on everybody. I'm not going to do a fancy one, but here we got Tony from Commonverse.
It's got a death cuss.
It's got a death cuss. Y'all are doomed. We got Adamantium Blade Comic Collectibles, Big Jeff. Me and him have watched every Friday the 13th movie. Almost, well, like at least 6 of them this week. So we were doing like, studying this one. And then, of course, my friend Fable, I was on his show the other day. We were talking about Chud, one of the craziest movies of the 80s, but I love it, and he loves it. And I know he loves this movie. So, all right, guys. So, thanks, Fable, for being here. Appreciate it. But anyway, I don't know. We were talking about Friday 13th. We're going to do it a little differently. Like I'm going to kind of do it like I kind of was inspired by Fable because he let everybody get a chance to talk. So we're just going to go around because I feel like I interrupt people if I don't have like some kind of like structure. We'll start out with one topic. I just wanted to go into a couple of things about it. It was interesting, fun facts for the cast. First of all, if you remember Mrs. Voorhees, Betsy Palmer, you think she just looked like the lovable middle-aged lady all the time. No, here's what she used to look like, just so everybody knows. She's quite a looker. The actual locations they did to film this movie, they actually filmed it in Hardwick, New Jersey, at an old Boy Scout camp called Camp Novi Bosco. And the camp is still there, and you can actually pay to take tours. And if you get the VIB package, you can watch a Friday 13th film festival and stay overnight in one of the cabins. So. And I'm trying to get some friends together. I would love to go do that. But also, this was Kevin Bacon. This was his second movie. The first movie he ever did was Animal House. And the guy that plays Bill is played by Harry Crosby. And if that last name sounds familiar, it should, because his dad was the world-famous crooner, Bing Crosby, who sung White Christmas, who had passed away a couple years before this. And of course, Betsy Palmer was on I can't remember the name of the game show, but she was on this game show in the 60s a lot. She did a lot of Broadway stuff and television. And, of course, one of my favorite characters, Adrienne King. She's probably one of my favorite characters. That's the standout ones that I just want to highlight. And then also, funny enough, this movie was made for a budget of like $500,000. But you know how I'm going to let y'all guess. I'll let y'all guess one at a time. Tony, how much do you think this, off the top of your head, what do you think this movie grossed?
What gross? Oh, I used to know. I'm going to say 10 million.
Okay. What do you say?
Let's go 5.
Yeah. Like in the first weekend or
no, I meant in its run at the box office.
11 million.
$59.8 million.
Holy shit.
Oh.
I was way off.
No wonder why they made 10 of them.
Yeah.
No, I mean, they were probably immediately like ready to do a sequel. Oh, we got a bunch of people in the chat. I forgot to mention anything. I'm sorry, guys. We got Robert here. He said 22. No, it was 50. We got Nerdy Geek. All right. Who else was here? We got Tony's omnipresent. He said, welcome, campers. And yes, hashtag Crazy Ralph was right. And my friend Lady Prime, one of my newer friends, she says, howdy. Hey, Lady Prime. Good to see you, Robert. And I think we got it. And we got Nerdy Geek. Hey, Nerdy Geek. Yeah, this is one of my favorite movies, though. But what we're going to start out first is like, I think I'll intermittently play some clips. Like we got some, I didn't really get a lot of the ones because there's a lot of them people interacting and stuff, but we got some great, like just the effects, though. Look at this. This is like one of the most famous practical effect shots in the film. Of course, what they did was he had used this kind of previously in a movie he had done with George Romero a few years ago before this movie, like in 75. I can't remember the name of it. And so what it is they take like a prosthetic neck and torso, and they put Kevin Bacon's head. He goes under the bed, and they stick his head up through it, and they have a hose that goes through this where they stick the arrow through, and then they pump the blood through it, and it makes it look pretty gruesome. So that one's one of my favorite like effect shots, but there's also some great ones in it. We'll talk about that later, though. And but what I want to do, yeah, it's a fake neck. Obviously, it's a fake neck. They didn't actually murder Kevin Bacon on screen, or we wouldn't have 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon if he had died in his second film, right? All right.
No Footloose?
Well, we're going to go. Yeah. Okay, what we're going to do first, I'm going to go around and start with Tony, and we'll go to Fable and then Jeff. Is how did you feel about like the cinematography and the overall, like the pacing of the film, you know, and all that stuff and the locations and how they did with like the story pacing and the storytelling? And I'll start with Tony.
I thought the pacing was real great. I mean, yeah, it's a horror movie, but it's a mystery at the same time. When you're watching this for the first time in the 80s and there's no internet or no spoiling or anything, you're really into trying to figure out just who the hell it is that's going around doing this stuff. The special effects were top notch for the 80s. That scene with Kevin Bacon, there was a malfunction in the machine. They actually blew in there, and they didn't intend on it getting like that, but it got like that. I mean, it's just a really great movie, even down to freaking Officer Dorff. I mean, it has its campy moments that are funny, and then it has its moments where you're like, holy crap. And then, of course, when you find out at the end, you're like, wow. I mean, you kind of want to sympathize with her because in her view, she's trying to make sure that no parent has to deal with what she dealt with. She just wasn't going about the right way to do it at all. And I mean, and it's also a hero's journey. It's also a hero's journey with Alice. She's so unsure of herself and what she wants to do. I mean, she was going to leave that week until I can't think of the guys. Steve talks her into staying another week, and she doesn't really know what she wants to do. But she ends up having to for all intents and purposes, nut up and survive. And so, yeah, I mean, it's really great, top notch for the effects that they had. You had Tom Savini doing the effects, so what is not to love about that? I mean, that's it.
And of course, like we said before the show started, this was one of the movies that basically became this and Dawn of the Dead were two of the movies that became Tom Savini's calling card to get other work in Hollywood. So yeah, we'll get into that more back. But okay, Fable, the same question about the way they shot it, the cinematography, the way the plot, the storyline, the pacing of it. What do you think about it?
Oh, well, first of all, as far as pacing, I think it has pitch perfect pacing. It's an hour and a half movie, which is something I absolutely love. When a movie can do, in and out in an hour and a half, I'm down to watch it anytime. As far as cinematography, I mean, it's iconic cinematography. That voyeur kind of from the point of view of the killer kind of thing, peeking in on people. I don't know if this was the first movie to do something like that, but I know it's the one that sticks with me. And I feel like it's influenced so much afterwards, especially in the 80s. So the cinematography to me is super iconic. And as far as locations and stuff, I mean, I was pretty much nope in going camping after this shit. You know what I mean? I'm like, no, people get killed out there. I'm not going camping. So yeah, no, I think this movie set a tone, set a precedent for things going forward, because this was 1980 exactly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. 1980. It came out, I think, it came out May 9th, 1980. So it was filmed in like late 79, early 80, I think, before they released it.
Yeah. And just going through the whole cast, right? Like one by one, they fall. One by one. And that's also something that's a staple of these horror movies going forward. Oh, who's Matt?
I agree. I agree. I agree with everything you said. I agree with everything Tony said. Big Jeff. Pros. I'm pros. Okay.
Okay, then.
All right, Jeff, what do you say?
Anyway,
I'm sorry, I froze up for a minute.
Pretty much mirroring what Tony and Fable said, but I like the setting. So being out in the woods, I know it's cabins, but that wood setting, that forest. So when you got that POV of the killer, and people are walking on a trail or going somewhere, you get that feeling that they're vulnerable, that you get that tension, you know, because they're out in the middle of the wilderness versus on a crowded street where someone else is there that could save them or something. You get that tension. Yeah, it changed it changed my view of going camping from that point forward too. But it was I remember the shock,
kind of like the same way Jaws, I guess, did with swimming in the ocean.
Yeah, and especially the cinematography, especially the nighttime shots are creepy because shadows are freaking everywhere in the woods.
Yeah,
you know, you could hide anywhere, you know. But yeah, I thought it was great. I thought it was awesome. Once I saw that, I was on board for the rest of the movies that came out.
Yeah. No, George, it's this is the second movie Kevin Bacon ever did. First movie, he was, all right, never mind, I'm going out. The second movie he was ever cast in, the first movie he was ever cast in was Animal House. He was one of the pledges for the Delta House's rival house, if you remember. He was but anyway, I just wanted to clarify that. Okay, I lost my comments here. Yeah. There we go. All right, it's gone. Never mind. It's kind of, the internet's kind of like, if I have more than 3 people on it, kind of like more than 2 people on me, it kind of just, all right. But thanks, Jeff. I agree with all you guys. Like, I like that. Like, Jeff, you made a good point about the shadowing and everything. And like, also when you're in the woods, my dad used to hunt a lot, like for like raccoons and stuff at night, and you have to hunt them at nighttime in the mountains. And he said, like, it gets spooky up there. Like, you hear things, you can hear animals moving, but you can't see them. You can feel something watching you, but you can't see it, because there's big cats out there. There could be bears out there wandering around. Just a bunch of stuff going on in the woods, especially in these mountains around here. Trust me, it could turn into Wrong Turn very quick. If you don't know if you remember that movie, but anyway, yeah, and I do like the pacing too. Like, you get right into it. Like, it's 1958. They go to the camp. You see the campers out there singing like Michael, row your boat to shore or something. I can't remember, some kind of folky song. And so you see these two, they pair up and they wander off on their own. And then they're like, you don't see who it is, like you're talking about the POV. And he's like, oh, we're not doing nothing. I think I actually got a clip of that. I'll play it. Or did I might have deleted it because I don't know if we want to see all these clips. But yeah, I had a clip and a few was like, oh, what are you doing? It says, it's not what you think. And I'll play it right. We'll play a couple of them. He's like, it's not what you think. And you don't really, but like, there's something else I heard Tom Savini say about this scene is like, you don't really see any like blood or gore in this scene. They infer that they've been killed. You don't really see him get stabbed. You don't really see what happens to the girl that was with him. they wait until the later for that. So you can see like when they first get the girl, hitches a ride, you don't know who's picked her up. And I almost feel, and like, I don't know if you guys feel it like, but I think what they did was they kind of make you sympathize with this girl because she's like, oh, I just always wanted to work with children, and it's my goal. This is my dream. And she was nothing, she's like young and full of vigor. And then you're like, oh man, I guess, she's just out like that. But she's totally terrorized. I thought it was good. I don't know what you guys thought, but I thought the acting was pretty good for this movie. I like all that stuff, and we'll get into that right now. I'll start with you, Tony, again. How do you feel about the casting, and what are some of your favorite characters in the film? I'll let you start, and we'll go to Fable and then Jeff. All right.
I love the fact that the casting was basically, at that time, unknowns. Nobody knew who the hell Kevin Bacon was except for what he did in Animal Dog. As far as favorite characters go, I loved Officer Dorff. I loved Ned. I can't think of the girl that was Kevin Bacon's girlfriend. I loved Alice. My heart went out to Annie because, when you first see her, your mind automatically thinks that she's going to be the main character.
Yeah.
And then she's talking about all his dreams and stuff. And then you realize, of course, it didn't take you long to realize that she's in the car with the killer. So, I mean, and that just really, I love the death scene, but at the same time, I was like, damn, that kind of sucks. She didn't even make it to the freaking camp. And that really, I mean, her body's probably still out there rotting somewhere. So, I mean, so I'm just saying, and I just love everything about the casting, right down to Crazy Ralph. I mean, even the damn truck driver. I mean, I love, 1 minute the truck driver's like, I'll give you a ride, and all the girls going to look like you, and the next thing, you should stay away. It's cursed. Just like, damn, you're sounding like Crazy Ralph.
Yeah.
But anyway, I loved it. I say my favorite character out of the whole thing was probably Annie, and she died right at the very beginning.
Okay. Yeah, I liked her too. I agree with that. Fable, what do you think about the casting, and who is some of your favorite characters? You don't have to just pick one, it don't matter.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with Tony. It's a bunch of people you really don't know, especially at the time when you're watching the movie. I think even though these people were probably in their mid-20s and they're playing younger people, I think they did a good job of conveying youth and innocence and stuff like that. So I think it works towards the film because, like Tony said, when the first girl bites it, you're like, God damn, you feel really bad for that girl.
Yeah.
In the beginning. But of course, my favorite has to be Mama Voorhees. Has to be her. When she comes out, she just plays a fucking total batshit insane.
Oh yeah, just like she's totally like.
Yeah. And she just takes over the film in the last 15-20 minutes of the movie, and it's like, wow, you weren't even in this whole thing, and all of a sudden this whole shit is about you now. So she just totally ate her scenes up. So yeah, she's got to be my favorite 100%.
And her and Adrian King got rough there at the end. Like, I bet you those ladies had some, because the ones you can tell when it's not a stunt double, Fable. And I'm telling you, those girls took some bruises. Me and Jeff were watching it and together on Discord. And man, these girls probably had some bruises after this scene. Yeah. But I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to interject. Sorry. All right. Are you done?
Yeah.
All right. Go to Jeff then, Jeff. I'm sorry. I got internet problem.
Mine's kind of weird. My favorite character is the one that you can't see. It's the behind the camera one. It's the person you don't know who it is throughout the whole movie until the end. You just see their hand sometimes move a brush or a branch so they can get a look at their prey or whatever, or you see their boots so that to me that's the best character of the show right there, because that's the one that causes all the anxiety,
Oh yeah.
But the mom, yeah, Jason's mom did both of those girls in the end. That the fight scene was crazy, dude. She had her by her hair and she was thumping her face in the ground, and I was like, man, that's a pretty rough stunt right there. It looks pretty real.
You know what? I not only did I feel bad for the girl in the beginning, but I actually felt bad for Jason's mom. Not because she died, but because I felt like she died too early. Like they killed her, they chopped her head off, and I'm like, no, it's this lady. She needs to come back. You know what I mean? Just send her to jail or something. But you know, that's what it is. They didn't think there was going to be a part 2, so I understand.
Yeah, they didn't really think too far ahead of that. Well, I agree with all you guys. I really liked Alice, played by Adrienne King. I think she did a good job of playing the final girl. I know there haven't been that many final girls at this point. And of course, it's like kind of like when it was the beginning of the golden age of the slasher film. And only one other I could think of was the queen, you know, the top queen of all, Jamie Lee Curtis, the ultimate final girl. But I thought that Adrienne King was great. She did a great job of expressing like the fear that you would, like if one of us were in that situation. And like, I don't think it's fair what some of those people like, and I'll look at the Wikipedia rating. I want you to hear what Roger Ebert and what they said about this, because it was, they're like, oh, this is misogynistic toward women. But I'm sitting there going, thinking, well, she's the only one that survives. She was actually smart and put up a fight. And I think I really liked her. I kind of hated it when they took her out in the beginning of the second one, but there's a reason why they did that.
Yeah.
She had a stalker after this movie, a bad one. He wasn't just like following her around to like her appearances. He confronted her one time and she actually had a gun to her head and she talked him down.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I heard her talk about it on this behind the scenes documentary the other day. And sadly, she kind of didn't want to be in a lot of she said, I'll do the second one, but only be in the first of it. You can kill me off. And she kind of like didn't do that many movies for a long time. And she finally has embraced it, you know, but it just shows you like sometimes you got these crazy fans out there, you know, they just can't, you know, it's not the only one. You remember the guy that tried to assassinate the president? He was trying to impress Jodie Foster because he became obsessed with her from watching Taxi Driver. So it just shows you like sometimes some fans can take too far. I'm just glad there's not a lot of them that do that, you know. But she's embraced it and she loves most of the fans, you know. So
I was going to say
also the crazy.
I'm sorry.
The only other guy to make it to the film. It's all right. I just want to say, Crazy Ralph's the only other character that made it to the second film. He gets killed in it, but he did make it. All right, go ahead, Tony. What were you going to say?
No, I was going to say when you was talking about the whole stalker thing, is I don't remember if it was Halloween 4 or Halloween 5 that little 10-year-old Danielle Harris had to deal with a freaking stalker. They had to protect her. And the fact that they killed Crazy Ralph too early, I mean, you figure somebody that knew about the death curse would be a little bit damn smarter.
Yeah. And I love that guy's accent. Like, he's got a death curse. I love it. Like, I always
they should have kept him around.
Yeah, they should have kept Crazy Ralph around for another.
Yeah, he always comes by and goes, "Hey, you curse." And then...
Okay, now we're going to go to the gore factor. Yeah. He's got that bike. It kind of reminds me of this guy we have around here. His name's Delmas. He's older than me, but he's not all there, you know. But he rides his bicycle around town all the time, and you'll see him like he'll be going around this and just dancing. You'll see his headphones on for his Walkman or whatever he's got on, but it's not even plugged in. He's just pretending to dance to whatever music's in his head. But you know, and if you see him, he goes, "This town's going to hell, buddy." You know, he's kind of that guy like that. All right, now we're going to go to my favorite part. We're going to talk about special effects, practical effects, how well they did, and also the gore factor. So 1 to 5, 5 being the highest, the gore factor. Just for an example, the 1974 film Last House on the Left would be a 5. So that's, you know, then you got ones that are lower down. But so, Tony, I'll start with you. What do you think of the practical effects, and what do you rate the gore factor 1 to 5?
Well, I love the effects. I mean, there's some really creative death scenes in this. I mean, from the girl getting the axe to Kevin Bacon's is probably the best death scene in the whole movie, except for the fact that we don't really see how Ned died. We just know he died. And the only one I'd put up there with Kevin Bacon is Mrs. Voorhees when you see the hands like freaking. But if you look real good, you can see the toothpicks that were holding the prosthetic head up.
Yeah.
And those weren't even her hands. I think those were Tom Savini's hands or somebody's hands. There was the male hands. Little stuff like that.
There were some other guy's hands. You can see the hair on the knuckles if you look closely, like when it's
yeah. I'm going to say, as far as gore or everything, and y'all may disagree with me, but I'm going to put the gore at a 3. And the reason why, and that's not a bad 3, it's just because I know later on it gets a whole lot gorier.
No.
And that's it.
And,
like I said,
Dr. Von Hoot makes a good point. Just statistically, more men than women dying. Yeah. So slasher films are based on the fundamental fears of many women. It's a healthy way for them to deal with those fears and ultimately beat the killers.
Yeah, he's right.
And Tony's right. They did actually kill a snake. They killed that snake in that movie. They actually killed the snake in the movie.
Yep.
That's before we had the ASPCA on the set. And
I was about to say,
before I go to you, Fable, the reason the ASPCA, the reason they started monitoring films was because, well, in the old days, like, John Ford and those John Wayne movies, those horses got killed all the time. They had to shoot those horses all the time because they did crazy stunts with them. But the movie that was like the tipping point was a movie by Michael Cinema. I think is his name. He directed a movie with Chris Christopherson called, it was a flop at the theater. It was called Heaven's Gate. It was a Western. And he actually had the grips kill chickens for a scene. And that was like, they're like, I said, you can't do that. It's a bridge too far. And that was one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons ASPCA, that's what I heard. I don't know. But Fable, okay, I'll give you, you do the same thing with what do you think of Tom Savini and the special effects crews, practical effects and makeup effects, and what do you rate it 1 to 5 on the gore factor for a slasher film?
It's early stuff, so it looked really good when I was a kid, but I watched I don't think I've ever seen this movie in HD. I think I've only ever seen it in VHS or grainy or, on a shitty TV or something like that. So this time around, you could totally see the mismatching color on Kevin Bacon, and you know what I mean? You could see the makeup. So, it hasn't aged that well, but for the time, it was totally it's what stood in people's minds about this film, especially that Kevin Bacon murder scene. So it was great, but on a gore factor, we've seen some gory shit, right? We've seen some gory shit. So I'm gonna have to put this at a 1. I think it's pretty tame. It's pretty tame for the most part. You see a neck slash, you see the thing, the axe, like Tony said, the beheading, which is pretty cool. But it's pretty tame by today's standards. So, but it's also, like I said, it's also the genesis of what's to come. But if I had to put a gore factor on it, it would have to be probably at the lowest end of gore.
All right. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Hey, Jeff, go ahead. What do you think?
I think I'm going to give it a 4 because I'm going to judge it from me watching it in, whenever I saw it first, probably 1980, 81, whatever. So if I frame it from that period of time, my eyes hadn't seen anything like that. You know what I mean? So the arrow through his neck was pretty, whoa, that was pretty shocking. But when she got beheaded, I was like, whoa, holy, that was a shocker for me. So, if I was to judge it in today's gore and today's effects, it drops down to like 1 or a 2. But back then, I give it at least a 3 or 4. And I loved what they did with Jason coming out of the water at the end, the way they had like rot on him and his head's kind of misshapen a little bit. That part I wasn't expecting because it had that little Bambi music going, like everything was over. And
Yeah.
now the sunlight's out, it's not dark anymore, and he just busts out the lake, and I almost did a backflip off the couch. I don't know, but that was great, man. That was great. But I just loved it. That movie,
I agree.
obviously, it spawned a franchise, but it spawned a genre. I know there was horror movies before that. I get it, but I don't know. It made it popular. It made it fun. You know.
Yeah, 100%. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Also, I try to I also want to factor in. I give the gore factor probably like maybe a 3. Like Tony there, because like Fable said, I've seen movies like even before this that were like, if anybody remembers the original Last House on the Left, my God.
Yeah.
You know, and that's actually a funny fact. Another fact of this movie is Sean S. Cunningham was one of the people that helped Wes Craven make that film.
Yeah.
So, and it was just like that one scene, you know what I'm talking about, where they basically gut this chick on, and like, or pulling her guts out. It's like horrible. And also, I'd say there was more gore. Tom Savini had more gore in Dawn of the Dead. I would argue.
Dawn of the Dead.
Sometimes not what you not see. Yeah.
Also, Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Which is, I guess, right around this time as well. You know, it's a little more visceral than this, but you know, not to take anything away from it. Like Big Jeff said, it was enough to like spark a whole, you know, a generation of movies.
And also, like Tom Savini was a Vietnam veteran. He was a photographer in Vietnam, so he got to see a lot of bad stuff, and that influenced. He said this influenced the way he did stuff because he knew what it looked like when somebody's throat was cut, or you know, like bullet wounds or whatever. The decapitation thing with the, you know, he knew what it looked like. And he also said this movie was kind of like a therapy for him because when he came back from Vietnam, he was kind of numb, like a lot of veterans would be after they've been in combat. And he said that making the special effects and doing this stuff was kind of a therapy for him, kind of therapeutic thing. But also, I agree with Jeff on the like the makeup for young Jason. It was his idea to have the head misshapen like that and everything, to put all the like, you know, like rod on them and stuff. And like, so I thought that was brilliant. There are some, like you said, Fable, there are some spots like when Annie gets her throat cut at the first of it, you can totally see the discoloration between her real skin and the neck, the fake prosthetic neck thing. But for the time, I mean, you know, if I'm talking about 1980, it was pretty probably best they could do at that time, you know, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, you probably couldn't tell. I mean, with our fancy TVs and our 4Ks and all that crap, we could totally see that stuff now. But back then, I don't think anybody was really noticing it.
Yeah. All right, we got a couple more things to do, and I just want to. I think we're going to talk about. All right, we'll talk about the. We're going to. Well, after this, I froze up again. Hey, Rich, what our overall feelings are after this? But I just want to go ask everybody. We'll go around the horn again. We'll start with Tony and go and ask, how did the music hold up, and does the music help the movie move along, or does it hold it back? And we'll start with Tony.
Oh, absolutely, dude. The music is freaking iconic. This movie would probably be dull if it wasn't for the music. I mean, the score. I mean, I this is just my belief. Anybody else can think differently, but it even goes with Halloween. You could have a great horror movie, but it goes a step above if you've got a score that just makes it over the top. And they did. What was it? Harry Manfredini did this one. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And that score, even the I mean, that was freaking amazing. And the score, as you can tell, the score, I love the freaking score, and it worked. I mean, it worked. You knew, when the scenes were kind of comical, but you also knew when the shit was about to get serious. So, yeah, pardon my language.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Fable, what do you think of the music?
I can't really add too much to that. I think Tony hit it right on the head. I think to me, that's my favorite part of this movie is the music. I think the music totally is a character unto itself. It gives you the fear in this movie, 100%. And that sound effect, that ha 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 thing. I mean, I don't know what kid in the 80s did not do that. Like playing around with their friends. Even people were scared, like, stop doing that. Shut up. Don't do that noise. Like, you know what I mean? So yeah, 100%. The music is iconic, like Tony said, and is a big part of why this movie is successful in my opinion.
All right, Jeff, I'll let you piggyback off that.
Yeah, I agree with both what Tony and Fable said, but the whole thing when that that in and of itself, that sound, people know what that is. Everybody knows what that is. And when that speaks to how well it was scored. And in the movie, when you had a sense of dread, coming, they had that low, like cello, the bass line, almost like Jaws a little bit. And then when you had someone like aware that they're being chased after, then you get the high frenetic, violin or whatever it is that's giving you that tension, that anxiety, trying to get away. Why does everybody have to fall all the time when they're running from a maniac? But
yeah.
But because you're watching, and especially as a little kid watching, you're like, run, motherfucker, run, get out of there, and they're falling and slipping in the mud. Jason just, he keeps coming. But yeah, the music has to cause, or it has to lend to and increase the tension of the scene. And I think the scoring for this movie absolutely just 10 out of 10 for me. They hit it out of the park. That sound
feels like what's going on in the chainsaw shit.
Everybody knows that sound, just like they know the first notes of the Halloween theme.
And somebody's going to get it when you hear that sound. Something's going to happen. It just triggers something in you. You're like, yep.
Somebody's getting ventilated.
Piggyback on what you said. Also also the strings they use, like that
thing.
It starts building tension. I think it's almost. I think he was taking that. That's an homage to Psycho, if you ask me, because of that. When he's like in the shower scene, it's the same kind of thing. It kind of builds his tension to a crescendo, and then it kind of they have that swell come at the end of it, and it's like, oh crap, man, he messed them up. He messed that person up, or she messed that person up. In the case of this movie, I love it.
I said this on another show. Because we like to talk about sound design and music, and a lot of great movies and a lot of different genres have great music and iconic scores. But I believe, in my humble opinion, that nothing is one of the most important elements of any horror movie is music. Music is so integral to horror movies more than any other genre, if that makes any sense, right? Sound design, the creaking of boards, the snapping of twigs, screams, slicing, blood, bubbling, whatever kind of sound design you want to use, as far as like techno music, if you want to be a John Carpenter or orchestral, whatever it is. I think music is so essential, especially in the horror genre.
I agree.
That's a hard thing to accomplish. What kind of sound? How do you create the sound of an axe going into a head, or a machete stabbing into someone's guts? What sound is that?
Also, another interesting thing is like a movie I'll give you an example of, because I remember like Steven Spielberg and Martin Scorsese and Brian De Palma. Remember when they first saw when George Lucas showed them an early cut of Star Wars: A New Hope. It didn't have the music in it, and they said it just didn't. Okay, my internet's going screwy, but without the score by John Williams, it just wasn't it was boring. It was like, what's going on? It just, and then like if you listen to one of these movies like Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street, like me and Jeff watched Nightmare on Elm Street last night, without that like little keyboard thing, it's not the same thing. Like what if it'd been like so yeah, the music's great. Or like the Benny Hill music, like she's running. But yeah, you don't want that. I forgot there's one thing before we talk about our overall feeling, our overall opinion of the movie. The other thing I want to talk about was like, what are some? This has not really got anything to have to do with this movie, because this movie had plenty of them though. Like, what are some of your favorite horror movie tropes that were in this movie? And I'll start with Tony.
Well, the classic, the kids are out in the middle of nowhere with no parental guidance, no authority figures. The only authority figures that you seen was Steve left to go do some stuff, and the cop showed up, and that was about it as far as civilization goes in the Getting Crazy route. But I mean, that show, the whole seeing the mysterious person walk into the room, hey, can I help you? And just walk in there without even looking, shit like that. I'm sure there's about 1,000 other things I could think of that are just leaving my mind. I know one thing that's not a trope that I particularly love was the strip monopoly, but I mean, that's just me.
Yeah.
I think that aged pretty well, but yeah, the whole, like I said, my mind's going blank, so I'll just end it with that because I can't think. My mind's just going.
Because there's so many.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Fable. What are some of your favorites?
I mean, Jeff said one of them already, which is the whole falling down, right? Like when you're running kind of thing. I mean, the two that hit me the most, I'm gonna say, is let's go have sex somewhere. Let's leave this party and go somewhere quiet and have sex. Like, I think this sparked a lot of that. Like every movie has one of those now, or back then. And another one is, let me lock myself in this room. I think I'm safe. At the end, and the door still cracks open.
Absolutely. Sex and drugs equal death. What Tony said in the chat. All right, Jeff, what do you think? What are some of your favorites?
Obviously, the fornicators. They're going to die. So
yeah.
You got the fornicators' early death, and the trope of it seems like almost all horror movies, where the person that's surviving towards the end, maybe not even to the end, but like even to the middle, and they're starting to realize that people are getting killed, somebody always drops from somewhere and hangs. That's a trope.
Yeah.
And towards maybe in the middle, towards the end, as it's starting to build to a crescendo, it always starts to rain and thunder and lightning. So that always happens. And one of my personal favorites is the cops are always bumbling and sloppy, and they don't believe anybody, and they're ineffective, and and all that shit. And the worst one, the one that drives me nuts, is that when it's down to the last person in the killer, and they get the killing blow on the bad guy, and he drops or she drops or whatever, and this person just relaxes, like, oh, it's over.
Yeah,
I don't have to worry about anything, and they're still within arm's reach. Yeah, they drop the knife. They do, and sure as shit they come back. But I don't know if that was so much. That one is so much in this movie, but it's a trope that came to mind.
Yeah. And I can't help but think about when we think about this is like Jamie Kennedy's character in Scream, telling everybody like the do's and don'ts of a horror film. And like the one that comes to mind in this one especially, and in probably every horror film, is somebody investigating a suspicious sound outside.
Mm.
And
then
they're like, and then I always like this: is somebody there? Is that you? Is that you, Billy, or whoever? Or like or the one that looks like I'm going to go. I'll be right back. When they say they're going to be right back, they're dead. That's it. You can
And
just,
who
now,
goes?
I also have a theory though.
Who goes on like the midnight
Yeah.
swim in the lake by themselves at a place like that?
Exactly.
I'm 6'7", 300 pounds.
Nobody.
I ain't doing that. I ain't doing that. No.
And if you're ever swimming out in the lake, it's very cold water. You know, if you ever been on a lake at night, it's not fun. Yeah, but there's some funny stories about that on part 4 we could talk about in our bonus time. But another trope is like, this is my theory though. Just because you smoke weed doesn't mean you're going to die, because Jamie Lee Curtis smoked a joint with what's her name, Annie, in the car when they were going to go to the babysitting job, and Alice smokes some weed with them when they're playing strip Monopoly. But if you mix that with having premarital sex, you're done. It's over with. You're done, bro.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, you have
tag you, bag you. That's it. It's over with. Yeah.
Yeah, all you worry about is getting laid. You're pretty much done.
Yeah, and so yeah, that's my favorite trope in the movie. Is like also the one, like, although that does kind of give you this troubling answer though. As long as Jeff was talking about the part where the Alice is running outside frantically trying to get away from Mrs. Voorhees, and Steve's body drops down, is hanging. How did the middle-aged lady like Mrs. Voorhees have time to hoist 180, maybe 200-pound man up in a tree upside down like a deer? Yeah, but we don't want to think too much about that, because also another trope before I get it is like the killer taking the person they killed and moving them somewhere else for the person they're chasing to discover. Like when Alice is running outside and she opens the car door and old girl falls out, you're like, it's just another thing for them to get scared of. Like she just, like they're going around collecting the bodies. Like, okay, we'll put this one over here. It's like he's the killer's being really feng shui about it. Like, okay, we'll put him over here. We'll put her in this car. Kind of like that. But
she threw old girl through the window too, man.
Yeah. Oh, the funny thing about that, the girl in the nightgown they threw through the window. Yeah, the person that actually crashed through the window was Tom Savini in a nightgown.
Oh my God.
If you look closely, he says, if you look closely, it's Savini, because they weren't going to have her do it, But yeah, it was her. It was him. Before we get to the last part, we're talking overall. I just want to play these clips. I'm not going to play a bunch of them. I just want to play, especially the one of Ralph, because also that's another trope, the harbinger of doom, like some crazy old kook coming into the town, crazy person, being like, "You're all going to die. If you stay here, you're going to die. You're doomed." But here's like, I just had to show this. We had to show a couple clips of them. I'm only going to show this one of Ralph and then some of Mrs. Voorhees, because I thought Betsy Palmer in the last 20 minutes of this movie stole the freaking show. All right, here we go.
I'm the messenger of God. You're doomed if you stay here. This place is cursed. Cursed.
What's up with that dude's neck?
And we also have some great ones. Mrs. And yeah, I know the great thing about Mrs. Voorhees though is like she comes in and you're almost like, oh, thank God, the adults here, right? You're like, oh, she's like, oh, I'm Mrs. Voorhees. I'm a friend of the Christies. I'm gonna play these few clips here, and then you totally like slowly you realize, and they let her do a lot of like improv doing this. She was only on the set for like, was it like 6 days or something, Jeff? I think she was only on the shoot for 6 days.
I don't know.
And they paid her $10,000 for 6 days. But it was something small. But like the way she kind of, then you start finding out, she talks about the young boy that drowned. We're going to play them all in succession. Then we'll talk about the overall film.
How are you? Well, I'm Mrs. Voorhees, an old friend of the Christies. Oh, thank you.
And then she talks about like, oh, it's okay, honey.
Come on, dear, then show. No, but it's all right. I'll take care of you. I used to work for the Christies. Oh, God, what's going on here?
And, like, for a minute, we all kind of let our guard down. The first time you see this movie, like, I think she's got somebody there to help her. We don't know what's going on. But then we get in, she gets in the cabin, and she sees the girl in the nightgown, comes to the window, laying there, and then it starts to go, like, you start going, uh-oh.
So young, so pretty. Oh, what monster could have done this?
And then and also Adrienne King needs credit too for this scene, because the look on her face when you can tell she realizes, this is the killer right here. And it starts right here when she starts talking about the young boy drowning.
Did you know that a young boy drowned the year before those 2 others were killed? The counselors weren't paying any attention. They were making love.
They were making love. And then she gets into talking about, today's Friday 13th. It's Jason's birthday.
You see, Jason was my son, and today is his birthday. Where's Mr.
And then you get, I only got a few more guys. Just bear with me. I just think it's great to see this progression. And then she basically looks at Alice like even though it's not her, but Mrs. Voorhees is so crazy. She's like gone cuckoo town. She's like not there anymore. And she's like, anybody that's at that camp, you let him drown.
You drowned. You never paid any attention. Look what you did to him. Look what.
And then you get to the part where it's just like this is where I start, like Fable saying, my heart kind of goes out to Mrs. Voorhees, because she's still grieving her son all those years later. It was like 19. So by now it would have been like 20 years on. And she's still, because she couldn't help her son. And it's like, here's the part where she's like, help me, mommy.
I am Jason.
And because, she realized she wasn't there to help him. And I think she's taking her rage out on everybody else that didn't help him. And she's using these people as an avatar for the counselors. I killed 2 of them, but I should have killed every damn one of them, right? You know what I mean? I should have killed everybody at that camp. And then we get to the killer mommy part coming up.
Kill her, Mommy. Kill her. She can't hide. No place to hide.
And it gets like, this is the best part. This is the best killer mommy, though, right here. This is the last I'll play.
Kill her, Mommy. Kill her.
I just love how Betsy Palmer's like kind of using a little kid's voice. Like she's got Jason's personality in her head, too. I don't know what you guys think. And the last thing I'll do is I'm going to share this, because I just want to read what, I hate to speak ill of the dead, but Roger Ebert. All right, I'm just going to read you what he said. And I think what he did giving their addresses out was a pretty crappy move, in my opinion. All right, let's just bring this up real quick. I'll go down here to the end where it's like the, all right, right here. Where's it at? It's at the bottom here. Reception. Critical response. Let's see if I can find it. Okay, it's there at the bottom somewhere. One of the film's most vocal detractors was Gene Siskel. That's who it was, Gene Siskel, who in his review called Cunningham one of the most despicable creatures ever to infest the movie business. He also published the address of Charles Bludum, the chairman of the board of Gulf and Western, which owned Paramount, as well as Betsy Palmer's home city, and encouraged fellow detractors to write to them and express their contempt for the film. This is attempting to convince people not to see it. He even spoiled the film's surprise ending in his published review. Siskel and Roger Ebert spent an entire episode of their TV show berating the film and other slasher films of the time because they felt it would make audiences root for the killer. Leonard Maltin initially awarded the film 1 star or bomb, but later changed his mind and awarded the film 1.5 stars, simply because it's slightly better than Part 2, and called it a gory cardboard thriller. That younger viewers had made it a box office juggernaut is more clue to why SAT scores keep declining. Still, any movie that spawns this many sequels must have done something right. And I don't know. I don't think they got it. I don't think they understood it. And like I love what Betsy Palmer's response to this was in the documentary. She said, "I just told him those that can do, and those that can't criticize. So, and it spawned what 9 sequels, 10 sequels. So I mean, they're not all as good, but like.
And in 1980, whatever 80 or 81, it made what'd you say 56 million?
It made $59.8 million.
$59 million in 1981 is pretty damn good.
Yeah.
The people have spoken, Siskel.
I mean, his idea of horror was probably people in rubber suits and, Universal monsters and shit like that. So something like this.
Also,
it's way different, you know.
And I'll tell you a little story about Roger Ebert. Roger Ebert was a failed screenplay writer. He wrote the screenplay for one of the worst films ever made, the sequel to Valley of the Dolls, called Return to the Valley of the Dolls. And it was one of the worst damn movies ever made. And I believe he just tried to take it out on other people that actually had a successful film. That's my opinion. He's a very bitter person. And
super successful.
That's why I don't like listen to critics. I always make my mind up with my eyes and my ears. And like that's why this movie's on Good Cinema. Like everybody's like, well, it could be on Bad. No, it couldn't be, because this movie is like the movie that, like, well, maybe part 8 could be on Bad Cinema. I guarantee you that. But and part 9. I mean, I don't know what's going on with part 9. There's some cool stuff in it, but like that whole, I don't know. And I like the fact that Kane Hodder's in it as an FBI agent. But this movie spawned like the craze. Like, let's think about it. Sleepaway Camp, Nightmare on Elm Street, even later on Scream in the 90s, Know What You Did Last Summer. Also, other movies that came on in the 80s, April Fool's Day, Slumber Party Massacre, Part 1 and 2, My Bloody Valentine, Prom Night. I mean, but all this stuff is like, and there's so many more I can't name, but it's like, it just kind of was like the golden age of the slasher film. It started in the 70s. Like, I guess you could argue, and we talked about this on Tony's show a couple weeks ago. Technically, I guess Psycho could be considered the first slasher film, even though the body count's really low. Yeah. But I think Hitchcock kind of did that stuff with also like the knife. What's it called? Knife in the Water or something. He always had that. But so that's like the grandfather.
Halloween came out in 75, right?
78.
What? Halloween 78? Came out in 78. Okay. Yeah. And before that, there was like in Texas Chainsaw Massacre came out in 74. So did Black Christmas. And then Last House on the Left was 75. So there had been movies like this, but like this is when it kind of went in overdrive, like the teens in the middle of nowhere, isolated, nobody coming to help them. And anyway, let's get into the overall thought of the movie, and you can grade it 1 to 5. Tony, I'll start with you.
Well, let's see. It's a great movie. Like you said, it launched what they call the copycat movies that came after it. You'll find out if we do one on part 2, that part 2 kind of borrowed heavily on the death scenes from Twitch of the Death Nerve. Love that movie. It's also known as Blood on the Bay or something like that. It's a really great movie. It came out in the 70s. It was kind of, well, I think Mario Bava did it. But anyway, we're talking about Friday the 13th. It's a great little popcorn flick. A lot of people forget that one of the main goals, at least in my opinion, or I've heard say, about a good slasher movie or a good horror movie in general, you go take your girlfriend to the movies, she gets scared, she hops into your arms. Maybe you get a little action later on. Who knows? But there is some really great storytelling in some instances. I know a lot of people try to do the continuity thing when you get sequels, and Friday the 13th, the first ones are really hard to put together.
Yeah.
I've tried. I love the fact that later on in other literature and comics and novels, you actually get to hear more about Pamela Voorhees, because, there's that comic book of Pamela's Tale where, you see a narrator telling Pamela's origin, and then you find out at the end of it, she's freaking talking to the dead Annie in the damn Jeep. You're like, wait a minute. You're like, wait a minute. How many days does she drive around with that chick in her car? But anyway, I mean, the casting was top notch. I mean, even for unknown actors, the casting was top notch. The kills were great. The music is what sells the movie. And plus, the first time you watch it, like I said, it's a mystery. You're trying to figure out who it is that's doing this crap, and you just keep guessing. And then they throw that curveball, like Matt said, here comes Mrs. Voorhees, a friend of the Christies, and you're like, oh wow, okay, cool. She may have a chance. I'm not afraid. Well, hell no, you're not afraid. You're the damn killer. But anyway, it was really great. I'm giving it a 4.
Okay. Fable.
Well, I got to be honest with you guys. This is not the first Friday the 13th that I saw when I first saw Friday the 13th. When I saw Friday the 13th, I think part 3 or 4 was like my first Friday the 13th. And Jason was already in full gear, hockey mask, machete, running around killing the kids. And so when I first saw this one and realized that Jason wasn't really in the movie, it kind of disappointed the shit out of me. And I was like, this movie kind of sucks. As a child, right? Like just as a kid that loved horror movies. Now, that has changed drastically over the years. Now that I'm an adult, I can appreciate cinema. I can appreciate Pamela Voorhees' character a lot more because, like Tony said, I got more curious about the mom because the mom is the reason why he does any of this shit, right? Like he worships her, literally. Like he has her head as like a fucking trophy, right? And like on a stand with a bunch of candles and shit. So you always wanted to know this lady and how interesting she is. Like, and in this one, you get to you see that like, man, she's she may not be as supernatural as Jason, but she's fucking crazy. She's a nutcase. She's been killing people since the 50s. This lady, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
she's a serial killer. Yeah.
Yeah, she's super vicious, and you could understand how she could be the mom of one of the most iconic slashers of all time in Jason. And also, from a historical point of view, if you love this genre, you gotta watch this. This is 101. This is, you know what I mean? This is my first slasher kind of thing. This is the thing that spawned a bunch of stuff, so you gain an appreciation in that sense. But it's not my favorite slasher, and it's not my favorite horror villain. You know what I mean? I do have an affinity for Freddy. I do have an affinity for Pinhead, stuff like that. But nonetheless, you can't escape the imprint that this movie made on cinema, on genre, on even B horror and VHS cassette tapes, right? Like just that kind of thing. What do you call it? Like indie film work, right? Like, right? So, but I'm with Tony. If out of 5, I'm gonna give it a strong 4, 100%.
All right, Jeff.
I got a vote with my heart here. I'll give it a 5 because it's part of my childhood. You know what I mean? This is one of the first. This and Halloween, the first Halloween, are the first 2 slasher films that I ever remember seeing, and they both scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. Maybe afraid to open my closet at night when I was a kid. That type of thing. So they live in my heart that way. And like Fable said, now that I'm older, I could even appreciate it more. Not only because I just love it because it's the movie that I love. It's part of my childhood, and I like those kind of movies, Nightmare on Elm Street, and all the other B movies, B slasher movies even. It's to me, it's fun. It's great entertainment, and I loved them all the way up to part 6. After part 6, kind of lost me, but yeah, 5 for me.
Oh yeah.
All right, thanks, Joe. Good score. I'm going to give it a 4.5. This was actually, I saw this movie before I ever saw Halloween, so this was like one of my first slasher horror film experiences was watching this, besides watching like the old 1930s Dracula on late night television when I was a little kid. I just think the plot's great. I love there's like a mystery going on. There's a lot of suspense. Like we all said, the soundtrack virtually makes the movie. I love it. This was like Tom Savini's like calling card, like I said. Some great practical effects for the time. I think Tom Savini goes down with Botten and Rick Baker and all those guys. Some of the greatest practical effects guys you'll ever see. But Bottin, Bottin, you know what I'm talking about.
Bottin. Oh, yeah.
Also, a few, not to mention a few others that I've probably forgotten, so I apologize for that, guys. But yeah, a lot of nostalgia for me. I've never watched this movie going to the video store and renting these movies on Halloween night. Watched so much we gorged ourselves on candy. We'd been trick or treating all night, you know. And then my mom would let me stay up later and watch movies. And she actually, I mean, you didn't get him in this movie, but the end till the end. But like that jump scare at the end, chef's kiss. That's the way they pull that off. And it started the little cameo appearance, I guess you could call it, as comic book fans would say, for one of the greatest horror film characters of all time, Jason Voorhees. And this is basically his origin story, I guess you could say. It's a prequel to what would happen. And then look at all the stuff it spawned: video games, comic books, action figures like this great action figure from NECA. So many movies.
Tony's shirt.
Yeah, Tony's shirt, hats, shirts, mugs, you know, hockey. Hey, it brought back the hockey mask, man. It brought back the hockey mask. And I just thought that it was a great way they did the movie. And also it's really refreshing when you find out this movie was not Paramount didn't come up with this idea. This was Sean S. Cunningham and his crew that got funding for this movie, like a shoestring budget, even for like 1980, $500,000 ain't nothing.
Yeah.
And it made $59 million, and it was one of the first films of its time to get major distribution from a studio like Paramount. It was owned by Gulf and Western.
That's wild.
So yeah, I give it a 4.5. And just to put that in context, that would be if it made, in today's terms, that would be almost like it made $300 million.
Yeah,
I mean, I might be exaggerating a little bit, but it's a lot.
Well, look at the percentages. If you invest $500,000 in something, and then in a year and a half later or 2 years later, you've got 59 million, you win. You're a winner.
Yeah,
you won.
I was going to point out a couple things if y'all don't mind.
Yeah,
go for it, man.
Well, I was going to point out the funny thing is.
Go ahead.
Now, because we're talking about Paramount distributed. If I remember correctly, I don't remember how many movies went through. They weren't actually thrilled. They were paying to make these movies, but they were kind of like hoping, you know, that's why they wanted to end it with part 4. They're like, yeah, we made all this money, but we don't want to tell everybody that we made all of our money from Friday the 13th. And then they gradually thought it was cool. And a fun fact, because we talked about the sex plus drugs equal death. As soon as I freaking posted that, I thought of one exception in part 2. And that is the guy that stayed at the bar lived.
Mm-hmm.
That's right, because he was too drunk to go home.
Yeah, he was looking for the after party. He was asking about the after party.
Yeah, so if you party too hard, you might make it because you're not going to be there. You know.
That's all I got.
All right, well, guys, this has been a great show. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed everybody watching it, and I just want to make a few announcements before we go. I don't have a show Sunday because of Comics Curing Cancer. I'm going to pre-record it. I'll release it like 10 o'clock because I think it ends at like 8 or 9 o'clock Sunday night. And also a quick reminder on that. It does start tomorrow at 7 a.m. on Legion Lair Hangout. It's going to go through 24th through the 26th. I don't have the exact schedule, but you can go to the Comics Curing Cancer Instagram page and get it. 100% of the proceeds go to cancer research for the American Cancer Society. And I challenge anybody. I guarantee that everybody in some form or another has known somebody or has had to deal with cancer personally. So let's please get involved in that. If you can't buy anything or whatever, or donate any money, just spread the word, everybody. They're trying to raise $55,000 or $60,000. I think it's $60,000. I think they can do it. I think we should get them to $70,000 if we can. All right. So spread the word. Tell everybody, comic book fan and art lover. There's some great opportunity to get some books. And like I saw last night on that preview, Rob, man, he's giving away some crazy books for that raffle on Only Slabs on Saturday.
I'm going to be a part of that.
Panther. Yeah, first appearance of Black Lightning. The first appearance of Black Widow. There's just so many great, like, expensive keys you could get for $25. Think about that. If you, that's a pretty good deal if you want to do that. And the next week is the last week of Halloween week on the Heroes for Hire Comic Club channel. And for Bad Cinema, Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern, we're going to be reviewing Trick or Treat. Got some great guest stars in it. Gene Simmons and
Ozzy
Osbourne, the preacher in it. And when I was watching it, rewatching, I almost questioned, well, it's not really that bad, but I had to pick something trick or treaty for them. So we're still going to do Bad Cinema. But Bad Cinema doesn't really mean it's horrible, though. You know what I mean? And also, Tony Fields, who plays the rock star in it, this man was a fabulous dancer, by the way. And if nobody doesn't know it, he was the dancer in the Beat It and Thriller video for Michael Jackson. So that's pretty good as far as dancer. He was a solid gold dancer, too. And if anybody's our age remembers, those solid gold dancers are pretty dang good. Then we're going to have a special. I think that I'm sure that Tony and Big Jeff, and I know Fable's coming back for this one. It'll be October 30th at 9 p.m. Eastern. And Good Cinema presents the movie that basically started the whole thing. John Carpenter, Halloween. Me and Jeff watched Halloween 1 and 2 last night or the night before, and we really enjoyed it. And another thing I want to say before we go.
Never gets old.
Well, these movies is like, when me and Jeff were watching them, it was like we were watching a football game. Like when something would happen, we're like, oh, look at that. Oh, we'd be talking over it. And, oh, man, that one's brutal. You know, so like, it's just kind of, I don't have nothing but love for these type of movies. That's why starting in November, we're going to do Friday Night Frights. And we got another guest coming on, but we're getting ready to end it. But he can come in if he wants. I just wanted, it's a random read. I just wanted to go around.
I'm here. Did I miss anything?
No, come on. There you go. Yeah, you missed the whole thing.
I've been in chat.
We're just going to go around and ask everybody what they got coming up next week, and then we're going to end it. We'll start at the top. I guess we'll start with Kevin since he came in.
Well, you heard about the Comics Curing Cancer, so watch all those shows, and then Monday night come to trivia and answer some questions about them, and you could win something.
Okay. All right, Tony, what do you got coming up?
I got nothing as far as my stuff because I'm hanging out and watching Comics Curing Cancer all weekend. I'll be there for Trick or Treat. Yes. No false metal. And then I'll return on for Halloween, possibly in costume. Just saying. I've got like 2 Michael Myers sets, so I mean, I may not wear the mask during the whole show because that mask it gets kind of hard to breathe in it. But I don't see how he can run around Haddonfield with that damn thing. Anyway, but other than that, I don't know when I'm going to do another live show. I kind of want to do something Friday, but I think you got something coming up on. I think you got something planned for Friday. I may just hang out this week and then just return. Don't forget November 1st, Saturday night, November 1st, the CBC Awards. And then on November 5th, I will be with Sector 28, is it 2815 or 2814? Paul and Legion of Comics with Guess That Key. That's it.
Look at that mask.
That's cool.
Does it light up? Or is it lit up?
And I may even get my Michael Myers figures down. Only got two. That's it.
All right. Well, Fable, what do you got? Anything coming up next week? I know you probably don't have nothing this weekend. No, nobody really has anything this weekend.
Yeah. Definitely go check out the C3 online event with all the different channels. Donate. You know, we all know somebody in our lives that have either fought this battle or have lost to this battle. So it's very important. It's a very important event in our community. Shout out to Dr. Doom's Fan Club and 9 Panel Grid, 2 channels that have already started the event on Tuesday and Wednesday. They had their own giveaways and auctions and all that stuff. So they've already started the process of getting up to the, hopefully we can get past 50,000 by the end of the weekend. So shout out to those guys, man. They did a great job. I'll be back next Tuesday for my final film and my we do a little thing called Horror Fest 2025, and my final film for Horror Fest will be 30 Days of Night. Based on the Steve Niles comic.
I'll be there for that.
My brother Matt will be there, and I got a couple other panelists, so that's going to be a lot of fun.
Awesome.
And then I'm back on Thursday for Halloween and Halloween 2, man, with these fine gentlemen. Can't wait to do that with you guys because tonight was a lot of fun. So check out C3. Check me out next Tuesday with Matt, and then come back next Thursday on this channel right here, where we're gonna do another horror icon, Halloween 2, man.
All right, Jeff, I'll end with you.
Nothing for me except go check out C3 and buy some stuff. There's a lot of cool shit, man. A lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Check out Christina's Hearts.
Yes,
definitely. There's still a lot of good ones left at a good price to get you a good, and that'd be a good way to contribute without having to spend a lot of money. You could get one probably for not a lot, just to still contribute. So and you get some good art. My mom did one too. If you look for the Batman one of all the bats behind him, that's Mom. She did that. And you look out for Mom's sketch cover. She did of Harley Quinn. But I guess that's it for now. I'm gonna make myself big and just say, remember everybody, when it's dark outside and storming, and you hear a bump in the night, and you hear a noise outside, don't go outside and investigate it unless you have something with you. Remember to lock your doors and your windows because you never know what could be lurking out in the shadows. But until next time, true believers, Excelsior.
Come, son of Jarrell! Kneel before Zod!
Snoochie boochies.